So a few days ago, when I done my press up challenge, came onto Facebook and Insta and spoke a little bit about the highs and lows of my life, and how I was always expecting a low to be around the corner, and how I had the highest of highs and lowest of lows. And sort of made me think about a story that I wrote whilst being in rehab. We was told to write a story about when gambling had affected us the most in our lives, and at the time I sort of felt like maybe this had affected me the most in my life, but looking back on it now, I think maybe it was, yeah, it probably did. It was more of sort of a period that I remember of like just being such a roller coaster. It's a story from 1 year of my life, and it's actually quite long. It'll probably take me about 15-20 minutes to read, so if you do stick around for the whole of it, well done. And it is like a condensed version of a year as well. I could have put so much more into it. There's so many things I left out, but yeah, this is actually something that's super personal to me, and something I never thought I would come on and share with my social media. I've literally told or shown this story to between like 5 to 10 people that are all close friends and all people I trust, but I thought I'd just come on here and do it as I've been sharing so much of my life. And I spoke briefly about, you know, feeling like I was a bad person and stole off people and lied to people, and like this, in this story, it sort of just shows, like, I guess where it started, because this story was from 8 years ago now, and it's for a year, so there was like 6 years more of lying, stealing, all manipulating, all of that stuff. So it sort of gives you an idea of why I ended up in rehab, like 6, 7, 8 years of the cycle. And I could probably write the rest of the 6 years and it would sound similar to this. More debt, more lies, more... Anyway, I'm going on now, and hopefully this story maybe helps someone who has a gambling problem and looks at it and thinks, you know, I'm not alone, and Joe went through this. Maybe I can change my life around, or even just some friends that can maybe understand me a bit more. Right, so here it goes, strap in. It's quite long. Right. I was 20 years old, March 2012. I was working as a poker dealer in one of the biggest poker rooms in Europe, in central London. That was not where I wanted to be. I thoroughly enjoyed my job, but I'd always wanted to be on the other side of the table. I convinced myself from a very young age that I'd always wanted to go to Vegas as soon as I was 21. So March 2012, I booked 2 weeks of work from August the 8th to August the 22nd. Although I had little money as I was gambling away my wages every month to try and get to at least 5k, I was still determined I was going to go. March and June went by. Both months I gambled my wages away to no success. But I was still determined that when I get paid in July, I'd get that figure of 5k and I'll book my flights to Vegas and play poker out there. I didn't need to worry about travelling with anyone, as I knew lots of professional poker players and had plenty of gambling friends that would be out there during the summer. I just needed to worry about winning some money and going. I was paid on the 29th of July 2012, maybe £1,600. I planned my bet out for weeks. It was the 2012 Olympic Games in London. 3 accumulators for £500 each that would last for a couple weeks, with the last event ending on the 12th of August. One bet returned £1,500, the other one lost. The last bet returned £4,000. The first 5 legs had all won. The last leg I was waiting on was Brazil to win the football. This was my banker. They had taken an amazing team to this competition and looked incredible, and they'd reached a final where they would play Mexico. I was already counting my money and planning my trip to Vegas. They couldn't lose. The match started, and before I knew it, bang, 1-0 down in 29 seconds. The fastest ever goal in a FIFA tournament final. Surely this wasn't going to happen. Weeks of planning, hoping, optimism. This can't be. Come on, Brazil. With 75 minutes on the clock, Mexico doubled their lead. In my head, that was it. Dream over. A few minutes later, Brazil pulled one back, 2-1. The hope was back. Brazil were throwing everything at it. Then in the 93rd minute, the ball was crossed in. Everyone was in the box. It fell to Oscar's head. He was 4 yards out. A free header. He can't miss. He somehow missed the easiest header I'd ever seen. Dream over. I was deflated. In my bedroom watching this game, I just laid in my bed. I couldn't move. I laid there for the whole night. I eventually snapped out of it the next day and realised the dream wasn't over. I still had the £1,500 bet that I'd won. I went and collected this from the betting shop and then proceeded to head to a poker club in Leicester Square called the Fox Poker Club. They had just upped the max buy-in from £400 to £1,000, and with my target of £5,000 to get to and not much time to get to it, I decided to try my luck out and sit down with the maximum of £1,000. I played for a few hours and was in my element. I pretty much wiped the table out. I was £1,000 up. I now had £2,500, but there was no one left to play with. There was only a couple people left each with less than £100 in their stacks, so I decided to move on from there and try out another place. I walked up the road to a casino called the Hippodrome feeling confident. The maximum buy-in on this table was £400, so I sat down with it. I played for a few hours. The players were a lot tighter and it was much harder to extract value from them. I eventually lost the £400. I wasn't going to reach my target of £5,000 staying in this casino playing poker. It was too slow. Time was dwindling, so I proceeded downstairs to the roulette table with £2,100. My target was £5,000, and this was the only place I was going to do it. I never had much success on roulette. I played a few times and nearly always lost. I'd occasionally have the odd spin here and there still though. So I started playing and everything was going my way. I was hitting most of my numbers and feeling invincible. With no time at all, I'd reached £5,000, but this was not enough. Had Brazil won, I would have had £5,500. I wanted the money I should have won from Brazil, and plus I was hitting everything. I was invincible, right? Wrong. That £5,000 turned into zero in what felt like seconds. It was probably around 20 minutes, but it was gone. I remember the overwhelming feeling of numbness. There was nothing I could do. I reached my target. My lifelong goal of going Vegas when I was 21 was gone. I had 2 weeks off work with no money. I remember walking around Leicester Square in the rain, not being able to find my car, and stumbling into two of my friends who were in a relationship. They had also just come from the casino. They noticed straight away that I looked lost or upset, and the girl asked what I was doing, where I was going. I said, I'm looking for my car. I can't remember where I parked it. She said, how can you not remember where you parked your car? What's up? You alright? I replied with tears in my eyes. I just lost £5,000 in a casino. Even though I technically only lost £1,500, this was a gambler's mentality that 5k was mine because that's what I had in front of me. And I was planning to go Vegas. She then replied with some comforting words to help me calm down. And when they both knew I was somewhat okay and wasn't planning on doing anything silly, they were on their way. I eventually found my car and drove home. Fast forward a few months, I was still pretty distressed over what had happened. I still managed to take the positives from it. I'd won at poker, and had I had more time to work with, I'm sure I'd make more at the other poker table. I was just too impatient, and with more time I could make this a lifestyle, a living. I just needed a decent stack to start with, so I could leave my job. It was 30th of January 2013. I'd been paid from work £1,600. I placed a £1,000 bet on 4 football teams, which would return £6,000. 3 teams kicked off at 7:45. 1 team was at 8 o'clock. The 3 teams at 7:45 were all fairly difficult in my head, and if I could get past them, I was there. The 3 teams had all won. The last team I needed to win now was Chelsea for £6,000, and they were 2-0 up, with 15 minutes to go, and near the top of the table. Playing Reading bottom of the table and soon to be relegated. That was it, pretty much done, right? Wrong. They brought on Adam Lafondre with 10 minutes to go. He scored in the 87th minute, then again in the 95th minute. It happened again, £6,000 in my hand. My dream of becoming a professional poker player, gone, back to square one again. Right, I will just say that I have got some names in here of friends, and I'm just going to say bleep if their name comes up, just to, I don't know, just seems more sensible. Fast forward another few months, my mum noticed something was up. I was depressed around the house. I wasn't myself. I broke down to her one day and told her about my dream of becoming a professional poker player, and that I knew I was good enough and better than other people and I can make a living out of it. After some time she got back to me and said, look, I'm thinking of selling the house. The houses around here are selling for quite a bit. That way I can give you some money and we can live comfortably. That was it, another chance. I'd have done anything to live my dream. Yes, Mum, sell it. Thank you so much. I love you. A few days later at work, I handed in my 2 weeks notice and told people about my plans. Everyone laughed at me and said, you have no chance. You're too bad a gambler to become a professional poker player. You're not disciplined enough and in other aspects of your life. I shrugged this off. What did they know? I can do this. Their hate is going to motivate me. We're now in around March or April 2013. My mum had given me 10k to start playing poker full time, and I was in my first week of playing poker, being a professional poker player. Sunday was always the big day of poker, and there was one tournament I liked the look of, $216 tournament, and there would be over $100,000 to the winner. I sat down on my laptop and played around 10 hours. I found myself on the final table, 6 people left. I was guaranteed $18,000 and the winner would get around $110,000. I was receiving tons of support on my Facebook and via text. At this point I'd come down into the front room with my laptop and my mum and dad was with me supporting. I was one of the shorter stacks, so I had to start making some moves soon. It came around to me. I had a pair of threes in my hand, on the button. That was it, all in. The big blind called me instantly. He had a pair of eights. My heart sank. Then there was hope. A 3 on the flop. I jumped up. Yes, I got trips. I've won. Then bang, an 8 on the river. It all happened so fast. Congratulations, you've won $18,000. What do you mean I've won $18,000? I had 3 of a kind. How have I lost? I checked the replay to see what had happened, and there it was, an 8 on the river. How could this have happened to me? I received tons of congratulations and commiserations from people that understood my way of thinking. I wasn't happy with $18,000 after what had happened, but nevertheless I took the positives from it. My first week as a professional poker player, I beaten over 2,000 people in my first decent tournament and made a massive profit. This $18,000 equated to £12,000 at the time. I withdrew this money from my poker account and into my bank. I then decided I wanted to buy a new car. I searched for cars that I wanted, and a week later I went out and purchased a new car for myself, a black Audi A3, £8,000 cash. Months passed and things were going well. I moved from my house in Fulham, which my mum had sold for 1.1 million, and we moved into a house in New Malden on the outskirts of London, in a nice house with a lovely garden and for around half the price. So I didn't feel guilty at all in my decision. I convinced myself that this was for the best for everyone. I'd turned the 10,000 my mum had given me into closer to 25,000 plus. 25,000 plus my new car, all through poker, making consistent profit each week and feeling good. We're now at the end of May, beginning of June. I found myself in a nightclub, drunk. Ironically, the name of the nightclub was the Hippodrome, also the name of the casino I previously got up to £5,000 on roulette and lost it all. I was sitting there when I see a girl I recognised. She looked beautiful. I know all of her family, and her family were good friends of all of mine. She had also dated my younger brother briefly whilst in secondary school, as she was in his year in school. We got to talking and she started to tell me that she'd always liked me, and when she used to come over to my house to see my brother, she had a secret crush on me. I didn't know how to take this. Although I was happy, confident guy on the outside, on the inside I was a mess around girls. I'd never had a proper relationship before and was pretty useless around girls. But I was drunk and felt confident, so I went with it and went in for a kiss. For me this was magical and everything I'd wanted. We continued to exchange messages for a few weeks and meet up. We're now coming towards the end of June and lots of my friends were out in Vegas. I was in a poker tournament in Luton. I found myself on the final table with a decent amount of chips. It was £110 to enter the tournament, with around £8,000 going to the winner. A friend of mine must have got wind of this. I received a text message on my phone. Come to Vegas, bro. I'm out here now. You should come over. I knew him through poker. He was also a fraudster who I'd done a few things with when I was desperate for money. But that's another story. I messaged back. I've not really got the money for it at the moment. If I do alright in this comp, I might come. Hours passed, there was now 3 of us remaining, and the chips are moving around in circles. We came to an agreement where we decided to share the money 3 ways, £5,000 each. And now I'm close to 30k, and was 50-50 about going to Vegas. Another friend must have got wind of this as I received a message being invited to a private poker game in a fancy restaurant in Chelsea. I decided to go. I thought to myself, if I do well today, I'm going to Vegas. I sat down with £500. Hours later, I had my chips up to £3,500 and decided that was it. That was enough for me. I'm cashing out. I then got a message from my friend again. I'm coming Vegas. Sorry, I'm cashing out. I then messaged my friend. I'm coming Vegas. I went home that night and slept. I woke up, packed my clothes and booked my tickets to go Vegas for the very next day. £1,000 for the tickets. That was it. I was finally going to Vegas with a little over a month away from my 22nd birthday. I'd made it whilst I was still 21. My lifelong dream since going there as a kid 4 times and seeing the bright lights and being enticed by them. The first few days went well. I stuck to playing poker and was doing reasonably well, as I expected. Everything was going to plan. I then found myself in the Omaha poker tournament, which is another variation of poker that I enjoyed. I was through to the second day, $360 entry, over 400 people started. We were down to the final 13. I was guaranteed $1,300. But this is not what I wanted. I wanted that 30k for first place. That's not what happened though. It was unlucky number 13 for me. Getting knocked out in an extremely unlucky way against a woman who had no right to be in the hand. That was it. My head was all over the place. How could this happen to me? I collected my $1,300 and proceeded straight to the roulette table. $1,000 on red. The ball spins. Black. With that $300 I had over, there was from the $1,300, I had another $1,700 in my pocket. $2,000 on red. The ball spins. Black. I got a taxi back to my hotel where I knew I had a further $12,000. I got this money out of my room and headed back down to the roulette table. I went into the high roller section and placed $4,000 on red. Ball spins. Black. I then placed my last $8,000 on red. Ball spins. Black. That was it. Everything was gone. I had nothing left. After a few minutes of trying to comprehend what had happened, I was trying to think of ways to get money. I still had around £10,000 in my bank and another £10,000 in cash at home. I tried to withdraw as much as I could from a cash machine, but I hadn't set my card up as being abroad, so I could only take out a maximum of $500 a day. Needless to say, this went very quickly. I then remembered that my friend had left money in my wardrobe. I headed straight up to my bedroom and grabbed the money. There was $3,000 there. What was I doing? I'd never done anything like this before. But I thought to myself, I have the money to pay him back. When I get the chance, that's okay. I bet on a few numbers, but I was chasing too much. The money was gone within a few minutes. I then had to confront my friend when he was back, and I felt absolutely sickened by it, withered with guilt. I almost felt worse about losing his $3,000 than my $15,000. I then had days of being in Vegas with only up to $500 a day. One day I managed to double my money, and I picked out a bet that I wanted to do a $1,000 accumulator, which returned $10,000. Again, like my bet that Chelsea had ruined, the first 3 events were the tricky ones. I get past them and I'm sweet. The first 3 all came in. Now all I had left was Anderson Silva to beat Chris Weidman. Silva was considered to be the best UFC fighter ever at the time. He'd never lost and never even come close to losing. The fight was in Vegas whilst I was in Vegas, but I couldn't even afford a ticket. I was watching from my hotel room on my laptop, on my bed. This was it, second chance. Silva can't lose, he's the best fighter ever. First round was cagey, but went Silva's way, I thought. Started the second round, they came out and exchanged a few blows, then bang, a huge shot from Weidman. Silva was out cold instantly, his first ever defeat. How could this happen to me? Again. Shortly after, I travelled home, depressed. Even though I still had a comfortable amount to start over again playing poker, my head was gone. I need to make this money back, and poker was going to take too long. I was receiving a barrage of messages from my friend, where's my money? In my head I was blaming him for making me come to Vegas and was thinking I'm not going to pay him back. He doesn't deserve it, plus he's a bad person that owes countless people money. Then my guilty conscience got the better of me and I sent him the money, albeit probably a day or 2 later than I should have, especially as he was in Vegas still at the time. I then started betting pretty big and just constantly losing, not even getting close. I was receiving messages from the girl that I was seeing previously at the time as well, but I pushed her away. The only piece of self-confidence I had was my money, and now I didn't even have that. I was never going to be good enough for her. I convinced myself that she was only talking to me to get back with my brother. After all, he was a younger, better looking guy. Why would she want me? Shortly after, I received a message from her saying pretty much we was done and never to talk to me again, which I don't blame her for at all. I pushed her into it, and although she was everything I wanted, subconsciously I felt like I wouldn't have known how to handle things. The money I had left in England had all gone now within a matter of weeks. All I had now was my car, which I decided to sell for around £6,000. A £2,000 loss on it in a matter of months, but I convinced myself that I was going to go back to Vegas and stick to just playing poker. So after I sold the car, I picked out a bet again. £1,000 returned £7,000. This was on Europa League qualifier games. The first 3 games were in. The last leg, my team was 2-0 up at home with 15 minutes to go. They were a strong favourite before the game started. They were now 1 to 100. I'd seen this before, but it wasn't going to happen again. There was no way. If it happens again, my life's not real. Bang, 2-1. The draw's gone from 12 to 1 to 5 to 1. But there's no point of putting money on the draw. It's not going to happen again. 5 minutes later, 2-2. It somehow happened again. This can't be real life. I then went on to lose the rest of the money I had. I now found myself at the bottom of the bottom. No money, no car, no relationship, no friends, no job, no self-belief, nothing. Gambling had taken everything. Alright, that's my story. Well done if you stuck around to the end of it. And yeah, like I said, my life after that was just like constantly trying to chase the highs of where the highs were for that short period of time. And it was just a circle of never ending lists, and I just got fat and depressed and pretended I was happy, but I wasn't. Now we're 11 and a half months since I've last gambled, about 8 months since I left rehab, and I can honestly say I'm in the best place of my life. And if anyone ever wants to talk about gambling problems, anything, any sort of problems, I'm always here. I'm not sure whether I'm going to put this on YouTube. I might try. I've never put a video on YouTube. So if I do, leave your comments. I'm always happy to hear and talk. If not, anyone who's got this far on Facebook or Instagram, well done to you. And hopefully you can respect my story, and that was the person I once was, and that's not me anymore. And kind of feels good to just get that out of the way, out in the air, and nothing left really to hide, to lie about. Obviously there's 6 more years of stuff, but I'm not gonna tell my life story, like no one wants to read that. But alright, rambled on. Thank you for listening. Peace.